Hey there, Darkstar here. I'm gonna do some work in the Havilland Company 2 and see if we can't make it work. I'm here at Colorado Springs Airport. Alright, so first of all, I'm only gonna do this part once. And I'm here because we have appropriate RNAV and ILS runways here. So one thing you can do in free flight that you can't do in the other one is you can go here and you can see what you still have on. So I believe that is everything is off. If you're in career mode, of course, it tells you what you still need to do. That looks like it should be good. Okay. So with most planes, basically you get the battery on, alternator on, beacon on. Let's go ahead and turn on the avionics. So mags would normally start off here. That's right, left, both. We want both position. Fuel center. Parking brake is on. And we want to get our prop RPM up and our mixture leveler up, and we want to crack the throttle here. About like that. And I think we want the starter on, fuel boost on. And we'll go fuel boost off. And go nav on. Let's go ahead and go strobe on, landing lights. You can get your instrument lights on if you want, cabin lights, whatever you want. Pitot, heat. Okay, and we're practicing with the GPS model. So you hit enter, get that started up, or do you? Okay, you're gonna make a liar out of me, huh? Well, that is interesting. Okay, that seems to be broken. I think we're done here. Those are the lights that you'd be getting on. Of course, normally you'd get your strobe and landing lights on when you enter the runway. We're just going to turn everything on now. You're going to get your flaps set here to... We've got takeoff and landing flaps, and then climb flaps. So, we have a 1 notch, 2 notches to take off. And it's actually 3, 4, 5 to landing. And then you got 6, 7, 8 notches all the way to full. Creaky. This is your heading bug. See that little thing moving right there? And you do want to align this to your magnetic compass periodically, and you do that with this dial. And of course we want to get our altimeter dialed in here. Where are we? course, this doesn't do HPA, so I'm just hitting comma to set it. That's seems approximately correct. Let's see if our GPS will come on now. Our GPS will not come on. Normally you hit enter. What happens if we turn it off? Back on. Let it boot up. 5:30 by 4:30. There we go. So if yours gets stuck, I guess try that. This will take a minute to find all the GPS goodies. And we will go ahead and get our brakes off. And our trim looks okay. It's a tail dragger, and I am honestly not good at tail draggers, so. Don't pull the throttle all the way back or it can die. Can kind of go up and to the left a little bit to get a look over the hood. And of course you can follow the checklists here, aircraft checklists. Go through all these. Stop here for a minute. Again, we don't want to go too far back. Make sure these don't come on. Mess up my brakes again. So we can do all these things. All right, we could go through here if you want. What I'm focusing on really is getting the avionics set up. So we're going to dial this up to 8,700. And we're going to go over to our GPS. We're going to look at our flight plan. We are going to hit menu. And we're going to use the outer knob here to scroll down to delete. And we're going to delete that. And then we're going to right click on that knob and we're going to scroll it forward. And it generally starts on K. You can usually hit this little button to type KCOS and then uncheck it before you can do anything else, unfortunately. So again, we can scroll this forward, hit this little button, KCOS, uncheck it, enter. No, you're not going to do it? Okay. Well, I'll go with that. Normally you'd enter your origin airport and then your destination airport, and then you could pick your departures. So like if we go to proc, you can pick departures, arrivals, and approaches. I'm just going to go through approaches here. So we're going to go approach, and we're going to do check our flight plan here. 17 left. 17 left, and we're going to do ILS 17. Here. And you can send your flight plan to avionics. But we're learning how to enter it, I think. Oh, by the way, if you don't like this, you can hit this little button right here. And that'll hide that. And then click this to bring it back. You can also click those apparently. Okay, so we're going to hit enter. And again, we get the transition, so we can do a day in there, or if we want, we can pick that. If you want to activate it, you can do that. If you don't, you don't have to usually. So there's our approach. Okay, now this would be a very long approach, so we're not going to fly the whole thing here. And I'm going to cheat in the interest of time here. So another thing you can do once you have your flight plan up here, you can again right click this until you get your cursor, outer scroll wheel around in it, and then like on this one or the prior one you could hit direct to that, and then it's going to be automatically entered there, and then you can say activate it. Now that's going to be your direct to. Alright, let's go. Okay, one thing you can do if you're, I'm kind of stuck in a mode here I don't mean to be in, so I'm going to press and hold clear, and it'll go back to here. Okay, so now we've got this little thing coming up this way and then back down. We'll see how that works out in a minute. This is kind of how you are aligned on your course. So we're off to the right, we're off to the left, sorry, that's our course. One thing I like to do on here is put this down here like this. So that's one inner scroll to the left so that it's on the first bar of nav. And then up here, in flight, I like to go to the third bar like that. That puts me in relative terrain mode with heading north. If your heading isn't north, you might need to set some options or something. So that's where your plane's going to be. So if you want to see more ahead of you, you can do that one. This CDI button here selects between GPS and your nav source, like a localizer or ILS. We're going to start off in GPS mode, and then we're going to need, it'll either switch or we'll switch it into localizer mode when we're ready. That's the button that'll do that. And this brings up your flight plan. This brings up the procedures page, and this brings up a VNAV, but I don't really use VNAV in these very much. I just manually nav, and then you could maybe, like I would never catch an ILS or RNAV in this thing, but we're going to show that it can do it, I guess. So one thing we want to see here is for runway 17 left, what is our ILS? It does not have one here. .1091, and we can see that's already entered here, 1091. Because we activated this approach, it's automatically entered that for us. Okay, so all it's left to do now really is fly out and intercept the approach, and you'll use this instrument primarily. Initially it's going to be your GPS, and then when we switch, it should become the localizer. Horizontal is your vertical guidance, and vertical is horizontal guidance, ironically. Okay, parking brake off. So we get a little view over the cowling here. Don't go to full idle. Okay, we're going to pretend like we have a short field takeoff here, even though we don't. So we are going to go hold the brakes and go throttle up. And then, like, we can already get the tail off the ground. Okay, we got too much of the tail off the ground. So be careful of that. So brakes on, just go full throttle. Release. Push forward a little bit to get the tail off the ground. Getting too much. Like I said, I'm not good at tail drivers, so okay, we can already take off here. What I want to do is fly over this way a little ways. Trim it out. Flaps up. Climb flaps initially. Get whatever clearance you need, then you can go into more of a cruise climb, get your flaps all the way up. We'll pull our prop RPM back a little bit. So we can say 2200. Let's pull our throttle back just a hair. Okay, so it is a long ways out there. So one thing I want to do is go ahead and get my autopilot on there. So that's on now. So that's autopilot mode right there. I think we can do heading hold mode, but I don't know if we can do actual heading mode. Yes, we can. Set that to north now. There we go, so a little heading mode. Okay, so we went 8,700 feet. We're at 8,000. Remember, little hand. So this is the tens of thousands. This is the thousands and the hundreds, right? So this is not enough to be over 1. There's 8,700 there. And it is leveling out, but a little late, I think, or maybe maybe it isn't. Let's hit altitude. And I think you hit altitude again, and then that goes into vertical speed mode. Look at this, we want to be at 8,700 at ROCCK, which is out here. So there's 8,700, seems to be holding pretty well. So let's sim rate out there a ways. Our ROCCK. So let's see now if we can get it to nav for us. So let's go to our flight plan, right click the little knob, scroll down to your desired waypoint, direct to, enter, and then nav mode. And the answer is no. It's not going to do that. Enter, direct to, sorry, enter. Oh, okay. So I had to turn off heading to get it to nav. Let's also look briefly at this. This is your squawk box or your transponder. So we can enter a code, right? Or we can hit VFR to go back to VFR. You would generally want altitude mode to be on. You can have it in standby mode, on or off. So in altitude mode, it would be broadcasting our current altitude here. And that's all the more I'm going to cover on that because I don't know what all these other functions do, but we're going to call that good. Okay, we're coming around here, nice and steady, holding at 8,700. About here at ROCCK, we want to start our approach. That's going to be our APR button. Did we lose nav? Oh, see, it switched into VLOC mode automatically, actually. That's what happened. I did not do anything. I was gonna go direct to ROCCK again. Okay, so now that we're in VLEC mode, and again, you'd hit the CDI button to switch it if you needed to. This is now the ILS course, so we're a little bit off to the left, so the correct course is here, and we are below the glide slope, which is right where we want to be. Right? So now we want to arm approach mode. We can see glide slope here is armed, and I hope we don't have to turn off altitude mode, but we want to watch our glide slope come down, and we want to capture it. Now this plane, in my experience, does not fly the glide slope very well, and I don't know why it's plummeting to the ground right now. That is very weird. Localizer here, that's good. Full prop RPM at this point. When you're ready to catch your glide slope, you want to get your carpet on. Again, I don't know why it has us descending. This makes no sense whatsoever. Not very good at it, but we'll eventually do it here. Okay, here comes the glide slope. Let's see if it captures it. There we go, glide slope capture. There it is across the center, and we should start descending now with glide slope captured. There we go. Sim rate a little closer here. An ILS like this is not meant for little planes. It's an airliner distance. Okay, so now we need to start slowing down. So we're going to lower our power to about 2,000. 20 inches manifold. And we want to get that carbide on. Once you're in the white arc here, you can start deploying your flaps. You don't want to get too slow, so you might need to add a little power as we deploy flaps. Let it kind of settle in. Okay. One more notch of flaps. Kind of watch your glide slope here. One more notch of flaps. And finally landing flaps. Fixed gear, we don't need to lower our gear. Might need to help it a little with a little nudge on the pitch if it starts porpoising. Kind of try to get it into a nice steady descent. You can see I'm about 75 knots or whatever, and we're going 400 something feet per minute down. If you're going a little faster, you descend a little faster. Try to help it get stable. And then usually about 400 feet above the runway altitude, you'd take autopilot off and finish the landing. At most at your minimums. Pretty sure we're at normal speed, but it sure doesn't feel like it. We are not, are we? That's normal speed, sorry. Felt weird. That is a thing you can do though to help on a really difficult landing. Just pull the sim rate back one. Okay. So we're going to go ahead and go autopilot off now. We're going to let our speed come down just a little bit more. Go more for the numbers than the airliner would. But... oh, that was terrible, 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 terrible. There we go. But, crosswind here I'm having difficulty with. Okay. And I've killed the engine and I lost all rudder authority. You probably don't want to do that. Let's crack that throttle again and restart here. Let's get our flaps up a little. Get our carb heat off. Back to takeoff flaps. Forward a little. Tail up. Deal with that crosswind. Wrong way, flaps. Okay, we are going to zoom around a little bit. Black Forest. Okay. So let's actually come a little to the side here. Okay, our altitude 8,700, go to altitude hold. Go down just a little bit. I didn't talk about mixture. I have auto mixture on, so it's automatically dealing with my mixture. Otherwise, you're going to need to deal with your mixture if that's what you want. I'm not going to cover that in this particular video. To control the heading. It's smoother. So what we want to do is go a little bit to the right on an intercept course, right? Now what we want to do is we want to pick another approach enter. We want RNAV 17 left. Yankee approach is the only one loaded in here. There's a Zulu, but this can't do it, so it doesn't have it. So you're on the Yankee 1711. You can just pick vectors as well. We're going to go ahead and activate it. Click that. Let's go down to RROC again. Activate that. And then nav heading. Go. We don't want VLOC anymore, we want GPS. So we are now above our glide slope, right, somehow. Yeah, we passed our rock. Okay, I'm gonna scoot back, because I don't want to be past the, okay, now I'm below the glide slope and off to the left a little. So let's go nav again, there we go. We're on GPS. And one thing we see here is LPV activated. Okay, that means there is some vertical guidance. If this isn't a type that has vertical guidance, it won't do it. So now we're going to hit approach. Come on. Shouldn't be descending. We may have missed it. And let's go back again. Doesn't matter exactly what altitude you're at. You want to be at the correct altitude, obviously, but you want to be below your glide slope. So, approach. Glide slope is now armed. Let's see if we'll catch the glide slope. And again, we're in GPS mode with an LPV approach and RNAV loaded. GS locked in here, and now we're descending. There we go. And of course we can go as fast as we want, up to a point. Let's go ahead and sim rate up, see how it does. That's a little bumpy. So one thing we'll note here is our descent rate is a whole lot faster, right? Because we're going faster. So to have the same angle, you know, these are kind of correlated, right? So as we slow down, we get our car feet on. There we go. Go idle throttle, almost idle throttle, go all the way. As our speed comes down into the white arc, get some flaps out. We got low on the glide slope because I made such an abrupt change in speed. So I just want to kind of hold that 70, 75 knots-ish. Let's see what it does. Slow on you. So I would say slow down a little more gently when you're coming in than I do, because it's not real good at adapting to that. Well, let's see if it sorts it out here. So far we haven't intervened other than with throttle. We're still a little high on glide slope. Descending now, yeah, there we go. And a little less throttle. So speed got up to 80. There's our 400 feet per minute, roughly. crosswind from our left now. So that means we want to get some left aileron in when we're landing, right? And right rudder. We want to aileron a little bit into the wind and rudder the opposite direction. Because the plane is going to want to weather vane into the end, because think of the wind hitting the tail, right? It's going to push the tail to our right, and that's going to push the nose to the left. So that's why it's going to be right rudder. Okay, autopilot is off now. So a little right rudder down the runway, and a little left aileron to compensate. Keep that right rudder in. Pull back on the stick. Not so much you take off again, but well, that wasn't as embarrassing as the first time. Gentle on the brakes. Oh. Keep it from dying. Okay. Well, hopefully that answers some questions about the how to use the GPS to fly approaches. See, is there anything else we care about? And lights. No, I think we're good. I mean, there are breakers. You can pop the breakers if you want something to break. All right, have a good one.